Millions of followers, luxury lifestyles, fame, money. On social media, their lives look absolutely perfect, right? But behind the cameras, a lot of these influencers are silently breaking down. Because the internet, it really only shows you the highlights. It totally hides the pressure. It hides the loneliness. It hides the real pain. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the dark side of social media fame. Every single day, millions of people dream of making it big online. To go viral, gain a massive following, become an influencer. It's pitched to us as the absolute ultimate dream job. But what actually happens after that fame arrives? Like, what actually happens when your entire life, your private moments, and your most authentic self suddenly become monetized content, just consumed by millions of strangers? And we are talking about a massive scale here. This isn't just a fun hobby anymore. In 2023, influencer marketing became a staggering $21.2 billion industry. Everyday people have essentially been turned into heavily pressured personal brands. But, as you're going to see, all that money comes with a super heavy psychological price tag. All right, Section 1, the algorithmic trap. So social media was literally built to capture your attention. Likes, views, comments, every single notification gives our brains this tiny little dopamine hit. And slowly but surely, creators stop living for themselves. They actually begin living for the algorithm. In the academic world, this is called algorithmic precarity, which sounds a bit complicated, but just imagine waking up and finding out your boss, who happens to be a faceless string of computer code, has suddenly decided to hide your work and cut your pay with zero explanation. A single unannounced algorithm update can cause a creator's views and income to just plummet overnight. It creates this severe, chronic anxiety. Because on the internet, people forget about you really fast. One bad month, or honestly, even one failed video, and creators start feeling totally invisible. That fear forces them into what's known as visibility labor. It's this claustrophobic, relentless pressure to constantly upload, constantly entertain, and just constantly stay relevant, literally just to survive. There was this one creator in a recent study who just hit the nail on the head. They said, "That dang algorithm makes you a slave to it." And it's so true. They're stuck on this endless digital hamster wheel where the quest for visibility is never actually fulfilled. It just demands constant, exhausting growth. Which brings us to Section 2, the pressure of perfection. Because online, everybody wants to look super successful. Perfect body, perfect lifestyle, perfect happiness. But a lot of creators end up feeling completely trapped. And they feel trapped because they quickly realize their audience really only validates that one perfect version of them. This breeds a really toxic comparison culture. Over time, the filters, the strategic posing, and the fake smiles, they just become daily routines. And this constant performance creates a vicious cycle of body dysmorphia and dropping self-worth, mostly because they're literally forced to live up to these impossible avatars they've built. Okay, moving on to Section 3. Toxic trans-parasocial relationships. Because guess what? It's actually not just the algorithm driving all this pressure. It's the audience. And this is where we see a massive shift in how we interact with fame today. See, back in the day, we had traditional parasocial relationships. It was a one-way street, right? Like a fan watching a movie star on TV. But today, we have trans-parasocial relationships. The modern audience expects this collectively reciprocal, highly interactive connection. Basically, the audience acts like the boss, demanding constant intimacy and direct 24/7 access to the creator. To survive those crazy demands, creators use something called disclosive intimacy. They basically share deep personal secrets just to keep engagement up. But when you start monetizing your private life, it creates a totally fake reality. You see feeds full of luxury cars and perfect vacations, while behind the scenes, they might be dealing with massive financial struggles. Plus, because the audience feels like they kind of own the creator, even the smallest perceived betrayal can trigger intense hate. Millions of strangers judging your every mistake can literally destroy years of hard work in a single afternoon. Blurring the lines between your private life and public content like that, it causes severe identity crises. Take content creator Lily Phillips, for example. She spoke out about feeling completely dehumanized and totally disconnected from reality after doing a viral challenge. Another influencer echoed that exact same feeling, saying, "Who am I? I had a proper existential crisis." When your whole existence is just a performance for strangers, you really lose sight of the human underneath. Which leads right into section 4, the breakdown. Because the reality is, a lot of creators are working every single day. No weekends off, no private life, no true peace. Because if they stop posting, the views drop, the income drops, the attention disappears, and eventually, they just crash. Look at this ecosystem. An influencer exists inside these crushing concentric circles of pressure. You've got external societal misconceptions, the relentless demands of algorithms, crazy audience expectations, and really tough business negotiations. And right there in the dead center of it all, the creator's own internalized perfectionism and ambition. It is an absolute pressure cooker. When researchers apply the job demands resources model to this, the outcome is crystal clear. You have incredibly high job demands, like 24/7 content creation and massive emotional labor, met with barely any support, and that leads directly to clinical burnout. Creators get so emotionally exhausted that they actually use depersonalization as a psychological shield, which then leads to the severely reduced sense of personal accomplishment. And you can see these exact threats to mental well-being right here in the data. Look at the biggest burdens these creators report. Feeling profoundly overwhelmed is number 1, closely followed by self-doubt, feeling lost, and this really deep sense of isolation. The job that promised them the ultimate freedom often just ends up trapping them in a cage made of metrics. So let's wrap this up with Section 5, reclaiming your identity. Look, social media itself isn't evil, right? It connects us, it entertains us, but we really have to start looking past the flashy vacation photos and the luxury unboxings. Fame might give you money, but it absolutely cannot guarantee peace. Social media is so often just selling an illusion, not reality. And sometimes, the people smiling the widest on your feed are actually fighting the absolute hardest battles offline. Forgetting your real identity just to chase internet validation, it can slowly destroy a person. And maybe that's the biggest lesson to take away from all of this. Don't lose yourself trying to impress the internet. If this explainer made you think, please go ahead and like the explainer and subscribe for more deep dives. And drop a comment below. What topic should we cover next?